Funky music.
Another thing we're going to have to do before we render this object is, since this is a very rough, craggy object, is go in and set this auto smooth parameter, which will help render this more smoothly, help smooth out those rough angles and stuff. That's under the object data tab. I'm gonna on the cube. I'm going to click auto smooth. I'm going to change this angle from 30 up to a much higher value, as you can see there. And now when we render this, it should look a lot better. I'm going to hit in light wave, I'd hit F9, but here I have to guess hit F12, and there we go. We see a render starting, and since I have that subsurface scattering option turned on, you can see it's getting into this real milky, well, it's kind of purple looking right now. We're going to turn that off also, but it's real milky looking, opaque, semi-opaque quality to it. So let me hit escape to get rid of that. We're going to go ahead and go back. Since we baked this object, or rather applied those modifiers to this object, and now that's part of the mesh, we can actually go in and change that texture, and it won't affect that mesh, that object anymore. I'm going to go back to where the material button was, scroll up, and you can see this is that cloud texture we had on there. Although it's purple, that's kind of a default value it gets. I'm going to go over here where it says textures, go to this cloud texture we were using earlier. Down at the bottom there's a color parameter that we can change. I'm just going to put a value in there. And right here where there's this preview, you can actually preview the material, or you can preview a little object with that material mapped onto it, and that's what we get in that case with those clouds. You can actually change this from a cloud to anything else. You can use an image map or anything you want to right now. We might try a few different things out. Marble. Let's see what that marble texture looks like. I'll actually change the size and maybe the depth also. That'll give it a little more detail. Changing that depth parameter, a little sharper detail on that marble texture. And I'll put the size down a bit, as you can see there. Well, let's see what that looks like. But you could put any texture on there you wanted to. And as you can see right now, it's rendering that subsurface scattering pass, and it's giving us something that does actually look a little bit like marble. And I might play with those colors a little bit more. I mean, you could just play with this for hours and hours and hours, but I really need to keep moving since we're recording video right now. There should be a tab called colors on here, but may not have that for every texture. I don't see it anywhere. Let me see if this will do something. Yeah, it's changed that color a little bit. So, whoops, what did I just click? I'll make it a little brighter and make it a little bluer. And there, let's try that one more render on that. Let's say it's like an icy asteroid or a comet. It would have a very semi-opaque, somewhat translucent quality to it. And that's kind of starting to get there. Another thing I would want to do is probably add some more specular to that. So I can go back to that texture tab, or the material tab rather, and turn up that specular. It's only 50% right now. Change the hardness quite a bit. Put that up, maybe 500 would be a good value. Get a much harder specular value on there. And let me do one more render. And like we say, you can play with this for hours and hours, keep adding details, keep adding textures to it, and that sort of thing. But one thing I do like to do is add a second light with a different color in it, because I don't like single color lighting in my shots. So I'll go here where it says add, and I'll click on lamp, And then sub-menu, I'll click on point. There's some parameters here to change, but the main thing is I want to use like a blue color, sort of a fill light. You can see very clearly where that light's coming from in your preview. Let me find that lamp I just added. Should be right there, point. And I should be able to translate that. I believe the keyboard shortcut is G. There we go. I want that kind of down there. That should probably be pretty close to our what we're going to do for this demo, for this tutorial. Alright, as you can see there, we have an icy asteroid with a primary light and a secondary fill color, and it is also rotating in space, and this will be enough to give us a nice image sequence for bringing into Howler as an animated brush. So now all we have to do with this is render this. So I will set up some render properties. That's the first tab on this sidebar over here, and the main thing we want to do is enter a screen resolution. Say 800 by 600 would be fine for our purposes, and you want to set this the scale factor to 100%. We also want to set a start frame and an end frame, and I believe the last frame was 30. And we want to make any other changes here. Now Howler can open and save a number of formats, but internally Target is probably one of the fastest loading and best supported formats. It's an older format. It's been around since forever, since the beginning of computer graphics on the PC, way before just about anything else. And it's a well-supported professional format. It supports 32-bit images with alpha channel, and it's been around. It's supported by everything, so it's a pretty good all-around format. We support it quite thoroughly internally. And I'll put that on RGBA instead of just RGB. That'll save an alpha channel out with this, which we can use with our animated brushes. Then all you have to do now is set a output directory. I already have one. I think I will create a subfolder in here. Call it asteroid, I guess. Something like that. I'll give this a file name. Say accept to that, and now all we have to do is hit our render and hit this render animation button here right now, or control F12 is telling me right there. So that's about all I'm going to do for this tutorial, and we'll see you again soon in the next one.